Hello, good morning, everybody. Today we will be talking to you about Birds of Prey Analysis Day featuring migration. My name is Rwambaisire. I am a psychology pre-med major, first year out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, my name is Sydney Marshall, and I am a first year biology pre-dental major Spanish minor from Silver Spring, Maryland.
Hello, my name is Tristan Glenn. I'm a first year biology pre-med major from St. Petersburg, Florida.
Here is an overview of our poster. We will be going in depth more so you can get to know what we studied and what we found.
On this slide, I'm going to be introducing our introduction and research question. Beginning with the introduction, the birds of prey migration experiment left several students confused as to where the migration rates and numbers were coming from. So our group conjured up a research question that would help quench our confusion with the question that reads, what genetic traits do broad-winged hawks have in comparison to other hawk species that give them such a high quantity for migration? While conducting experiments pertaining to our research question, we were able to gather a large number of results that helped answer the equation. As you look through our poster's information, you will find out not only the answer to our research question, but other leading factors that interfere with the results. Enjoy. Introducing our research question, what genetic traits do broad-winged hawks have in comparison to other hawk species that give them such a high quantity for migration? Hypothesis, if we research the characteristics of birds of prey, we will be able to find which genetic traits differ from broad-winged hawks and other hawk species. The predictions were, we predicted that the broad-winged hawk would have genetic traits that other hawks did not.
On this slide, we will be talking about the methods, statistics, and the species list. Our study site was the Washington Valley Park located in New Jersey. The park is 715 acres. It is a public park that is located between the first and second Watchung Mountain Ridge, which contains the Washington Valley Reservoir and Chimney Rock. For our sampling methods, we first classified the bird species that were based on phenology and further classified bird species that were put into two seasonal categories based on their spring migration and the breeding season. We then analyzed hourly counts of migration raptors each day during each spring migration and the breeding season. We conducted this research over the course of 2 years, so we have twice as much data for each season. We used a stopwatch, telescope, measuring tape, and a tracking chart. Next, for our statistics in our study, our data collected is mainly focused around the migrating quantities of broad-winged hawks, which is the main part of our hypothesis. The graphs made in our first data analysis lab and those focused on the biodiversity both resemble the fact that August was the month with the least amount of birds migrating and September had the highest amount of birds migrating. We had a few conclusions that were repeated that supported the hypothesis that broad-winged hawks migrated the most, but we lacked data that supported the genetic traits that allowed them to do so. There were a number of ideas and conclusions that differed, but there was nothing that contradicted the data collected and analyzed through the study. Our species list consisted of merlin, osprey, bald eagle, black vultures, turkey vultures, Cooper's hawk, northern harrier, American kestrel, northern goshawk, broad-winged hawk, rough-legged hawk, sharp-shined hawk, and the red-shouldered hawk. Located below our species list, you can see our Figures 1 species accumulation curve for the Washington Valley Hawkwatch. The site has been sampled 15 species that were seen for more than half a sample. Our graph then demonstrates each new species that was observed over the course of 25 days.
On this slide, we have figures 2 and 3. Figures 2 shows that the broad-winged hawk had more data in comparison to all the other ones. Second, coming in with the sharp-shined hawk, and then the least amount of data we had came from the peregrine falcon. And then figures 3 just demonstrated the data over the course of 1 month.
On this slide, we'll be discussing the results, discussions, and also our acknowledgements. So firstly, our results, we found that there were genetic traits that allowed broad-winged hawks to migrate for longer periods of time and distances. In the end, the data did support the abundance of migration through the months of August through November, and the conclusions were that they were repeated, but the broad-winged hawk migrated the most, despite there was no data of differentiating genetic traits that allowed them to do so. The data also suggests that the broad-winged hawk had the most occurrence during the migration in the month of September, which is also embedded into a chart and then processed into a line graph. For our discussion, the research question proposed in the study related to the high quantity of broad-winged hawks' migration in comparison to other birds of prey. Our team needed to answer with the data of migration rates for a few specific hawks and be able to compare the two. The data graphs that were monitored for the broad-winged hawks supported our hypothesis that broad-winged hawks were in fact the most common bird of prey to migrate. And this data that we discovered in our study relates to biology because it can be compared to the natural cycle of nature and how it can be affected by natural selection. And a few of our acknowledgements include Hampton University, the Department of Biological Sciences, for the chance to conduct this research. And this poster is also supported by the National Science Foundation grant. And all findings and opinions are those of the authors, not necessarily NSF or Hampton University. Thank you so much for allowing us to present our study to you, and we hope you enjoyed and learned something from it. Thank you and bye-bye.